welcome, and everyone, please meet Avery Neff, a Utah gymnast. Now, you had the first perfect 10 of the season. When we saw that come across on socials, everything, wow, okay, we're so excited. Could you walk us through that vault, both physically and mentally? What was going on?
Yeah, I mean, we had kind of not had the greatest start off to the day. And so I think I was really just focusing on doing big gymnastics. The girls before me, I was telling them before they went up, don't try to go for the sticks. We don't really need these huge, amazing scores. Just do your normal gymnastics, do big gymnastics. Because sometimes when you try to, go for the stick, a lot of time that's when you kind of take step backwards. And that's where we don't want to be. So I was like, just do big gymnastics. That's what we want. We want big vaults and things like that. So I think my mental preparation, I was just thinking, I'm just going to make this the biggest vault I can, and I'm just going to break open early. And me and Mike have actually, my vault coach has been working on just elongating my vault to make it super high because I have so much power and it's just been pulling me so far. And so my first meet out of the season, it was like this crazy, like huge vault, but like pushing so far back. So then we've been working together and trying to make it go taller and, making it pop up a bit more. And, I think that was kind of just my mindset that day was push really hard through my shoulders to make it pop up and then just spread open and wait for the landing. So
In watching it back, I mean, you knew right away, didn't you? And have you had that feeling and then not had it be a perfect 10 before?
Um, probably. I feel like there's been times like in club where I knew that it was good or things like that. But the thing is in club gymnastics, you had a 10-1 start value. So I feel like if you were to stick your vault, normally you'd get around a 10 because you had a tenth to buffer for like form or error, things like that. So I had a few 10s in club, but I never really felt perfect. And so in college, like I think right as I landed, I just was like, well, if this isn't a 10, I don't know if I'm ever going to be perfect then because I knew in my heart that it was really, really good. So I think it was just really good to see it kind of come into place. So
What makes for a perfect 10? We can talk vault, but in all of the other events, what are judges looking for in order to hand something like that out?
yeah, I mean, every event is different. There's so many different key elements that you have to have on each event to make it a perfect 10, But that's a pointed toe, even. It's straight legs. It's how much height you're getting, how much or where you're landing. If you stick the landing, that's great. But if you have any like bobbles on top or if you have an arm swing or things like that, if your legs are a little bit uneven, if your knees are bent, if there's so many key elements that can go into it but you have to make it truly perfect in order for it to be that 10. So
What makes a Yurchenko 1.5 so difficult for some people who are going to be watching that might not know gymnastics as well? Maybe watch it every 4 years with the Olympics. Why is Yurchenko 1.5 so difficult?
yeah, I mean, there's been so many years when I started club gymnastics where most people in clubs didn't do a 1.5. So the difficulty of the skill is already hard enough, and it's a blind landing. So when you're popping out of a 1.5, a full, you get to see the ground practically the whole time. And so it's easier to stick a full because you get to see where you're going to land. And a 1.5, it's a complete blind landing. You don't see where the ground is. You kind of have to just open up and hope it's there. And, I think that's what makes it one of the scariest things because, especially if you land on straight legs, like that's even scarier because if you're a little bit behind, your legs are straight, you're blowing out a knee. So there's so many different elements going into it that could be really dangerous, but also it's just a hard skill in general to get it to one, get super high off the vault table and you're launching off of your arms, and two, not seeing anything when you're coming out of it. So
Incredible. And to do it at this meet, I know from a team perspective wasn't great, but look, these are teams that you were competing against last year, in the final eight and the four on the floor. When you look at Oklahoma winning a national championship, it's one of the storied programs in the sport. It seems to win it every year, and LSU was there, and UCLA too. So I mean, what do you take away from that meet overall? Even though it didn't go the way you wanted it to as a team, I mean, these are four of the best programs in the country.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot right out of the gate with this first meet. I always say that failure is the key to winning. You can't win without having failure. So I think a meet like this really put it into perspective for us and a lot of growth. I think if we had have had this meet last year with kind of the mental team that we had and kind of just the, like, oh, well, our meet's over anyway, so we would have just
Hmm.
probably thrown it away. But you know what? We kind of gathered as a team and just was like, you know what? It's not our meat, but we're going to still push it through to the end. We're going to still do our best to the end. And you know what? I think that is just a testament of our grit that we have. And I think that will go a long ways. If something at Nationals this year doesn't go the way we plan, we've already experienced that and worse. So we're just going to have to keep dialing it in every meet. And, just, I feel like it just really, really makes us hungry for the next couple meets. So,
Okay. What's the difference in you as a gymnast from your first year in college to now, the perfect 10 at vault that you are?
I I feel like I've had a lot of growth this year. I mean, last year I hurt my ankles in the middle of the season, and that was really hard for me. And just watching from the sidelines, and starting off the year so strong, and then hurting them, and then having to sit out and watch everybody kind of do what they love and what I love was really, really hard. And, I think that taught me a lot of patience and being patient on myself and my body that things are going to have to heal. I can't rush things but I can still be as strong mentally as I am physically and if not stronger. And so I learned so much just as a person that you know, there's only so much you can do, and there's a lot of weight that your team can pick up too. I think that's one thing that we grew as a team as a whole too is when somebody goes out that is an all around, like that's a huge, huge deal when somebody is, in the all around in your team and you have to pick up all the pieces. And it's hard to, try and fill a shoe like that, but my team did such an amazing job last year at it that I feel like it gave us the confidence going into this year that we do really have so much depth and we're ready for anything. And I think for me, that was a testament just of who I am that, other people can still be there for me in times where I'm having a hard time. And I can also be there for them in an emotional support way. And I feel like that's really helped me come into this captain role and just be there for the freshmen, for seeing how hard I had my freshman year and how much I struggled just as a gymnast, but also as a person. Because being a freshman in college, as in general, is already hard, and I had a hard time in general with that. So I think it's been one of my main things that I've been focusing on was to be there for the freshmen and, you know, teaching them some of the chants that we do so they're not lost when we're, doing them and giving them a little pet talk before we go up so that, they just have a little bit more confidence and seeing them break through in the past couple meets just where their confidence has been so amazing to, just see the reflection of that.
Avery Neff joining us from the Red Rocks, Utah gymnastics squad, and the number one recruit in the nation coming out a couple of years ago, freshman last year, now in your sophomore campaign. Have you done everything so far that you thought you would as the number one recruit in the nation coming out of high school?
Um, That's hard to say. I mean, I definitely have so many goals that I want to achieve in college. So obviously, I wish I would have won a national championship last year. I feel like that's kind of everyone's, go-to goal. But I just think there's so many things. Now I'm glad I hit the 10 mark. That was a goal that I wanted. But some of my goals are I want to beat the Utah record for having the most 10. So there's so many goals that take a couple years to get to. So
How many is that?
oh, I don't even know. I need to look it up again. But Miley holds the record on beam, and so I'm like, I'm coming for you, Miley. We've had this discussion before, but
That's
I don't
awesome.
know if I'll be able to beat the most tens on beam, but we'll see.
Awesome. Okay, my last question for you. Do you think either of your brothers, Boston or Carson, could do anything that you're doing in gymnastics?
Oh, that's a crazy question because my brothers are actually very athletic. And my oldest brother, Boston, he is like, he has a natural gift. It's actually really crazy. He taught himself how to flip in general, and he can like huck triple backflips on snowboards and with no teaching at all. Like the most unreal like athlete I've ever met. And I think if he had a lot of training when he was younger, he could have been a really good men's gymnast. Maybe he's kind of taller, so I don't know about that. But yeah, I feel like he could have, not Carson though. I love him to death, but he is not coordinated at all. He cannot do that.
Yeah, but even
So,
the most coordinated people can't pull off these. I mean, it's not a knock. Like
yeah,
if I would have answered for you, I'd be like, no chance. Not many people on
yeah,
earth can do that. Are you kidding?
yeah, yeah.
Last thing for me, looking at your IG page, you've got this great reel. I want to try everything and anything. If you could try one thing, what would it be? And it's just a lot of really sick. I mean, you're wakeboarding. Is that what you're wakeboarding? Are you wake surfing? Is that what you're
Wake
doing?
surfing,
Yeah, wake
yeah.
surfing, and you're riding a
Mhm.
roller coaster, and you're off-roading, and you're driving a plane, flying a plane.
Yes.
What are you doing in that? Can you just take us through everything you're doing in that? And what was the most fun? Horseback riding? I'm looking through it again.
Yes. So I think there's horseback riding, there's flying a helicopter, there's wake surfing, there's I don't want necessarily know what to call it, but it's like rope swinging.
Yeah.
And then I flipped off that.
You jumped through like a
And
cave or something. It looks really
yeah,
famous. I
yeah,
didn't recognize what that was, but it looks awesome.
yeah, it's in Lake Powell. Sometimes they take it down, but just for safety reasons, but every once in a while you can find it up. So that's really fun. That's my favorite place on earth actually is Lake Powell. So
All right. What have you not done that you want to do when it comes to doing everything and anything?
oh my gosh, there's so many actually. I want to go skydiving so bad.
Me
I
too.
want I want to go. This is gonna sound crazy, but one of my like I've been obsessed ever since I flew that helicopter. I've been obsessed with like just helicopters in general and just like the thrill in it. And I want to go so badly in a Red Bull helicopter where they do a backflip. I want to do that so bad, and I don't know who can get me to do that with them, but I want to ride in that so badly. I know it's crazy, but and you know, I'd probably never meet them till I get in that plane and I'd have full trust in them, which is maybe not the best thing, but also a good thing that I trust them. I don't know, but that's like one of my biggest. I want to try that so bad.
Avery's
I
a
want
thrill
to.
seeker, Sid. She's a
Oh
Yeah.
big time
yeah.
thrill seeker.
Yes.
Avery, I can't even do a somersault. So I'm gonna let you do that in that Red Bull
Yeah.
helicopter. I'll be waving from the bottom. Hey, you're doing great up there.
Yes. Yes. I've always wanted to bungee jump too, like off of a super
Ooh.
tall bridge. I've always thought those are so cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot of stuff.
Avery, we can't wait to see what you do the rest of this season. I can't wait to see what you do the rest of your life, okay? Because we'll be following you on social media, seeing what all of these you'll tick off of your life to-do list, okay?
Okay,
Good luck.
thank you.
Get it.